Hey guys, Josh Olfert back with another video, and today I want to talk with you guys about the difference between being rich and being wealthy. Time to think like an investor. So we have these different words, being rich, being wealthy, hitting the like button. What's the difference between these things? Now, we might wonder, why are there so many different terms for the same thing? So the reality is there is a significant difference between those two things. The difference is big. So I want to tell you the story of the first time I ever felt rich, and I want to tell you the first time I ever felt wealthy. And we can use those to kind of better understand what these actually mean. So we all think of rich as, buying nice things, having fast cars, going on luxury vacations, buying jewelry, going to the club and spending a ton of money. Those sorts of things that really get you going, that get you excited. The first time that I ever felt rich in my life was back in 2016. I was turning 21 years old, and there was a lot that was leading up to this. I was buying rental properties. I was trying to build an audience online, which obviously didn't work, seeing as I'm here again in 2020. But I was also, most importantly, starting my career as a financial professional. And up to this point, throughout the last 5 years prior to this, I had been accumulating a list of people who were interested in investing with me. Now, this is something I've talked about in a prior video, how I started my investment firm, but the gist of it is this: I had a lot of people who wanted to invest with me. And about a year into my career doing that as a financial professional and helping people invest their money, all of these different business opportunities started to land at once. I had, nurtured these seeds or brought on all these different clients, and now they were starting to pay out. So all of these deals I had been working on started to land, and I was earning commission as a financial advisor. I was helping people manage their investments. I was helping people get insurance. I was helping people get a mortgage, all these different financial products. And in the summer, the year I was about to turn 21, I saw, over the course of 4 to 5 weeks, $50,000 hit my bank account all at once. And as a person who is super passionate about building a business or creating wealth or investing for the past 6 or 7 years prior, this was the first time I actually had a real payoff where I felt a lump sum come at one time. And this was just kind of a mind-blowing experience. It was like almost as if, as a young person, that kind of money is big. The world opens up to you. It's all the options are now on the table. So I started to think, okay, what should I do with this? I've got $50,000. I don't really have much in living expenses. The world is my oyster, essentially. The quick breakdown of what happened was, I took about $10,000, saved that for taxes. I just made sure that I wasn't gonna be hurting there. I took another $10,000, I donated that away. So now I'm sitting with around $30,000, and with the rest of it, I made some ridiculous spending decisions. I spent money on some crazy stuff. Over the course of the next year, I spent a lot of money on water with a ton of bubbles in it. I went on vacations. And although a ton of that stuff was unbelievably fun, and I had some experiences I'll never forget, I ended up a year later having pretty much nothing to show for that. I ended up in a position where I maybe had $10,000 that I had stuffed away and saved, and the rest of it was completely gone. So I went through this period of being rich for a little bit, or at least I felt rich for a little bit. And in that moment, it was really cool. So looking back at that, I felt rich. And that's what a lot of people might think of as rich, is when you have tons of excess cash that you don't really have a purpose for, that you can kind of spend on whatever you want. But now, let me tell you the story about the first time I ever actually felt wealthy. The first time I felt wealthy was with a way smaller amount of money. The story was that I had just started to rent out a property for the first time, which we're going to be talking about in a video very soon. And the first time that I went to actually pick up a rent check, which I was doing at the time, I wasn't using e-transfers or anything like that. I went to pick up the physical rent check, and the tenants handed me a check for almost $2,000, about $1,900, and they said, "Thank you." And I thought to myself, wait, what? Like, you're thanking me? It's like, I'm thanking you. You are the one who paid me for this, but they saw this as a place for them to live. And the interesting thing about the rental property is that it didn't just pay me that month. It paid me the next month and the month after and the month after that. And it still pays me to this day, except for a small little hiccup that we will talk about soon. I still have that same property that's generating that same amount of rent every month. So the wonderful thing about this property, and the reason I felt wealthy because of it, is because it was longer term. It was something that was recurring instead of something that was just a one-time lump sum, even though it was way smaller. So even though this was a way smaller amount of money than the $50,000 I got when I was feeling rich, this was recurring and it made me feel wealthy. And that's the real difference, I think, between what it means to be rich and what it means to be wealthy. And the way I'd like to talk about this is that rich is measured in terms of money. It's measured in terms of the amount. It's measured in terms of dollars and cents. Wealth is measured in terms of time, right? If we think about this, let's think about the people who have as much money as we could possibly want. We think about guys like Bill Gates and Warren Buffett and these people who have infinite money. What is it that they want? Well, they've already gotten all the money they could ever want, and what they want is more time, right? At the end of the day, there's always different ways. You can always go work more hours. You can always find some new business to make more money. There is nothing you can do to get more time. Every single person has relatively the same amount of time on earth, and you want to maximize the way that you spend your time. People who have tons of money are more concerned about, am I getting to live an engaged life where there's things that I enjoy doing and I'm doing those all the time? Spending time with my family, or doing, participating in the hobbies that I really enjoy, spending my time doing things I like. So really, time is the most valuable resource. And if you always have to go back to work to make that $50,000 lump sum again, you are always trading away your time. You're trading away a resource that has infinite value for a resource that has limited value. So that's what it means to me, the difference between being wealthy and being rich. For instance, somebody who earns $300,000 a year and spends $300,000 a year, they might have a very rich lifestyle. But someone who can have an asset or some sort of investment that pays them $100,000 a year, if they're only spending 50, they're wealthy because they have eliminated this time for money trade. They have a productive asset. They have some sort of portfolio or investment or business that is paying them more than they need to survive. At the end of the day, the way I would define wealth is how long could you survive if you stopped working tomorrow? If you stopped going into the office, you stopped going to work, how long could you survive? And let's say you have $20,000 saved up and you're spending $5,000 a month. Well, that means you have 4 months worth of wealth. This is what I mean by wealth is measured in time, not in dollars. Now, if you have an investment portfolio, for instance, worth $1 million, and it pays you 5% every year, that's equal to $50,000 a year. And if you are spending less than $50,000, you are infinitely wealthy because you could last forever without going back to work. And this is the difference between rich and wealthy. Wealthy is when you have assets that produce for you. You have businesses, you have investments that pay for your lifestyle. Whereas rich is just having a lot of money and spending a lot of money. So if I can relate this back to my personal story, if there's any questions that I love to field and I love to take from clients, it's questions about how are we creating long-term wealth? How are we putting ourselves in a place where maybe we can have more freedom or be a more sovereign person or be more independent? The questions I hate to field are the questions about getting rich fast or trading some investment to make a large sum quick. Because I was there, I did that. I've had that feeling of having a lump sum all at once. And at the end of the day, the only feelings I have about that are not so much regret, but feelings of mismanagement, like I did something wrong. And if you instead focus your energy and focus your skill on trying to build something longer term, trying to build something recurring, trying to build something that will pay you over and over and over again and give you freedom, those are the questions and the discussions I can't help but just love having with clients and love having with people. So all that being said, that's the difference between being rich and being wealthy. And I think if I can save you some time, Spend your time, spend your energy and your focus on thinking about longer term wealth. Anyways, thank you so much for watching this video, guys. If you want to see more just like this, please hit that like button, turn on post notifications, and subscribe for more videos just like this every single week. Until next time.